The fact of that was that we were able, up to a point, to persuade them that the Normandy landings, when they started, were a diversionary attack, that the main force was still in East Anglia, waiting to go across the Channel to Calais. And we were able to maintain that pretense for several days after D-Day, quite critical days, when the Germans could have reinforced the Normandy coast.
For weeks, as Allied armour continued to roll off the Normandy beaches, vital German reinforcements were held back east of the Seine in expectation of a second invasion. The German dictator had been successfully deceived. But before the war was over, the double agents were given one last task. A week after D-Day, the Germans started sending the new V-1 flying bombs across the Channel. Many V-1s managed to get through the air defences and hit central London with unexpected accuracy. Hugh Astor attended a meeting in Whitehall to discuss what could be done.
There was some gloom, and one of my colleagues, and I can't remember who, it certainly wasn't me, said, well, would it help if the Germans shortened their range? And the chap laughed and said, yes, of course it would help. And so we all went away, and a week later we went back, and the falls had been plotted on the map, and each day the range had decreased. And the briefing officer said, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but for God's sake, go on doing it. And of course what we were doing was reporting all the V-1s which had gone too far, and we were ignoring the ones which had gone too short. So the Germans were persuaded to reduce their range. We got a tremendous rebuke from Herbert Morrison, who was then Home Secretary, I think. He was horrified that what he described as the invention of the devil should be controlled by people like us as to where it fell. But luckily, Winston and his colleagues prevailed and said, you know, well, it's going to fall somewhere. We might as well try and arrange for it to fall where it does the least damage.
Moving the targets of the flying bombs was the double agent's last big achievement before the war came to an end. Three months after VE Day, GARBO returned to Spain to meet his former Abwehr controller, Karl Erich Kuhlenthal. Close to tears, the German praised GARBO for his achievements and told him that shortly before the collapse of the Reich, Hitler had personally awarded him the Iron Cross. Kuhlenthal died in 1975 without ever finding out that he had been deceived. The British had succeeded in keeping the Germans guessing. Yet throughout the war, they had themselves been under observation.
Well, I think a lot of people in MI5 were fairly left-wing. I mean, it was a fashionable thing to be, and it was, in many ways, it was a sensible thing to be. I was pretty left-wing myself.
But the security services didn't know that there were Soviet spies at the heart of Britain's intelligence community. Kim Philby of MI6 and Anthony Blunt of MI5 were both involved in the double-cross system. Though their treachery was known to security chiefs by the 1960s, Blunt's deceit was kept secret, even from his former colleagues, until 1979.
When Anthony Simpkins told me, I said, I don't believe it. And he said, but he confessed. And it felt exactly as it once did when I was in a small earth tremor. I couldn't trust my feet on the ground. But it was absolutely devastating. It was dreadful. It's like suddenly waking up and finding you're married to Jack the Ripper or something like that.
After defeating the Nazis, the British faced the USSR in the Cold War, and the KGB proved to be a much more formidable opponent than the amateurish German Abwehr. But MI5 has yet to release its documents on this less successful period of its history.
Conspiracy, paranoia and life on a knife edge next today. The unsung heroes of war revealed in just a moment here on UK TV History.